past Thursday, I was on my lanai practicing my speech tonight, and my 7-year-old granddaughter came out and said, "Grandpa, your speeches are boring." I'm only hoping that in a few minutes that you will disagree. Several months ago, we had our international speech contest, and we had 10 contestants sign up, and Charles was our topics master. The main ingredient in table topics is the element of surprise. Whether it's the international speech contest table topics or the week-to-week table topics, the main element is the element of surprise. Now, the difference between international speech contest and our week-to-week table topics is that in the international speech contest, all contestants are asked the same question. So in order to preserve the integrity of the element of surprise, the 10 contestants were escorted out of the room and then brought back in one by one, if you'll remember, to be asked by Charles the question of the evening. The first person to walk through the door, or to be escorted through the door, was Carlos. And you know what? I forgot my prompts. Did you have those? Absolutely. Thank you. The first person to be escorted through the door was Carlos. And he stood up next to Charles, and Charles said, "Let's pretend it's your birthday. And you can have anything for your birthday that you want. What will it be and why?" And without hesitation, Carlos said, "I want to be rich." Well, several contestants later, Thomas comes walking through the door. And he stands next to Charles, and Charles said, "Thomas, let's say it's your birthday. And you can have anything for your birthday that you want. What would that be and why?" Thomas, you said? You said, "I want to be rich."
I want to be rich.
See, I told you said that. Several contestants later, another Toastmaster walked through the door and gave Charles the same response: "I want to be rich." And I thought that's pretty amazing. I mean, how often in tabletops do we have 3 people out of 10 give the same response? But then again, I got to thinking about it, and I don't think that is so unusual, because I don't know of anybody in this room that would tear up a lottery check. So you want to be rich. How I wish you would. If I had my brothers, I would have rather you have answered that question with, "I want to aspire to greatness. I want to develop myself to a level of greatness." And I'll tell you why. I have found, and research has shown, that if you want to be rich, that focusing on money is actually distracting. That focusing on money is counterproductive. And there's a good reason for that, and that is because money is a byproduct. Money is a result of something productive that has preceded it. It is a result of a foundation that has been laid in place beneath it. I can take this money that I have and I can set it here on this table, and we can leave it here for a week, and I can come back in a week and it will not have grown. We can leave it here for 2 weeks and 3, and it will not have grown. However, in that 1 week or 2 or 3, you can do certain things that are productive and reach in your pocket, and you might find some more of this. And the reason for that is because you are the product. This is the byproduct. You know, don't give it credit for any more than it is, and don't focus on it. Focus on what brings you about this byproduct. Focus on developing what creates this byproduct, and that is you. When I hear of somebody who is rich, I think of 2 things initially. I first think, well, they must be in an industry that uses money as a yardstick to measure success. Not all industries use money as a yardstick to measure success. The nursing industry doesn't. The teaching industry doesn't. As I say about teachers, they don't make millions, but they do make millionaires. That's the first thing I think about. And when I hear of somebody who is rich, I think, well, it's somebody who raised themselves to greatness. They did a sequence of things, or a series of things, that raised themselves to a level of greatness. So how do you become great? Well, first you make it your goal to be great. And I advise you to, and really highly recommend that you go home and write down 10 ways in which you can raise yourself to a level of greatness. And my best recommendation is learn everything there is about your business and everything there is about your industry. When I broke into the steel pipe and tube business 40 years ago, I got a hold of every pamphlet and every brochure and every manual I could get my hands on, and I read them from cover to cover and over again. I got my hands on every spec book I could get my hands on and read them from cover to cover and over again. I could tell you how steel was melted, the temperature it was melted to, the yields and the tensils, and how the carbon or how the chemicals and physicals differed in each type of steel. I studied, and I developed myself into an authority on this subject. Now, did I enjoy studying this stuff? No! I hated it. It ran somewhere between painful and excruciating. I mean, there were times when bamboo shoots under the fingernails would have been a relief. But I wanted to raise myself, I wanted to raise my knowledge to the level of greatness. It got to where engineers called me from the customers, from the companies that I sold my product to, and would ask me engineering questions. And I would tell them, I'm just a salesman, but here's what I recommend you do, but it has to be signed off on by an engineer. Several years ago, I called a customer of mine in Chicago and was looking for a particular size of my product. And the receptionist answered, and I asked for my usual sales rep, and she said, well, he's not here. I'm going to connect you to our young associate named Angela. So Angela answered the phone. I said, Angela, it's John Love with U.S. Tube Supply. She goes, John Love? And I said, yeah. Why do you say it like that? She goes, oh, my sales manager says you're the best at what you do. I said, well, thank him for that, because I've known him ever since there was dirt, and I have a high regard for him as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't tell you these things to impress you. I tell you these things to impress on you that money most often comes to you in direct proportion to the level of greatness that you develop yourself to. So you want to be rich?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Speech went over like a lead balloon. Maybe my granddaughter is right. So you want to be rich?
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
Of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Woo! Okay. I hear some. No. Hold on. I hear some bad things being said out there about money. I've heard people say money corrupts. But I hope by now that I've convinced you that money doesn't corrupt it. It's a mere byproduct. I've had people tell me that money corrupts, and I say money doesn't corrupt. It just makes good people gooder, bad people badder. So you want to be rich. So this is my response. Everything you want in life is out there. Everything you want in life is out there. It's out there, just on the other side of greatness. Mr. Toastmaster?